Let's talk about all the books that I want to read during the spring and summer of this year. I used to think that the winter slash fall were my favorite reading season because it's cooler, you get all the cozy vibes. But I'm starting to think that summer and spring are actually my favorite seasons to read. So I just want to kind of talk to you guys about some books that I'm planning on reading during the spring and summer of this year. And so technically this is my TBR for spring and summer, but you know me, I never stick to a TBR. But I'm actually very excited about a lot of books on this list, so I think we are actually gonna get to them this year. The Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I have barely made a dent on this book, and I've also tried to read on my Kindle. This is the second book in the Nukma series. This is a small town romance. It's the brother of the guy from the first book. Essentially, he is the town sheriff, and this girl who doesn't like putting roots anywhere. Her name is Sloan. Lena. Her name's Lena. Sorry. She is temporarily moved to the town, and I'm guessing they fall in love and something happens. And then usually her books have a little bit of mystery in them, which is pretty interesting. That's the first one. Then the same mystery line, I want to read I think this is book number 2, the Natural series. This is called Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. If you like Criminal Minds and if you like the Inheritance Game series, I highly recommend picking up this series. The first book got me really hooked, but then I hit a little bit of a reading slump, and I actually made it to page 128 on this book. So this is about these teenagers that get recruited by the FBI to solve crimes, but they're not really allowed to go on the field too much. And then you get the POV of the serial killer, which is really cool, and it's just such a fun read. I really want to get to this big of a book. I usually only reserve books this big for fantasy reads, but I've been really wanting to read this book. I've heard it's really sad, so I feel like I have to be in the mood for it. I've talked about this book multiple times. It has been on my TBR for a while. This is about two sisters and friends during World War II, so that already gives you the information that it's gonna be a sad book. This is purely fiction. I don't think there's any romance, and if there is, it's probably just like a sprinkle of it in there. So I have to be really in the mood to just read a fiction book, historical fiction book, which, let's face it, it's not really my comfort genre. So we'll see when I get to that, but I really want to get to it. I read Nabi Jimenez's book recently and I fell in love with it, so now I really want to read this one. It's called Part of Your World. I think she came up with that duology for this one. This is about this city girl. She meets like a small town guy. I feel like it's the typical, what am I thinking of, Hallmark movie setting. So I'm kind of excited about this. I think they have a little bit of a fling, and then I'm guessing they fall in love. I don't want to really go into too much detail. I'm sure you can find the description of this book somewhere. So she's a big city girl, he's a small town guy. You know the drill. I like books like this are pretty predictable, but so are every single romance book we've ever read. Then I'm doing a complete 360 because I really want to get into The Sacred History by Donna Tartt. I actually really want to get into her books. I actually started liking her writing style, but it's definitely the type of writing style that you just have to really pay attention to. This is a dark academia book. A murder happened. All these like really sophisticated students, this New England college, they kind of discover like a new way of thinking, and they connect via like this class that's like super hard to get into. And I really don't know exactly what this book is about besides what I just told you, and maybe I'm even wrong because the description is so vague and encrypted that I just don't know what it's about. We had Malibu Rising. I went through a really big Taylor Jenkins Reid phase, and I read most of her books. I think this is one of the last ones that I am yet to read. I remember making it to page 54 of this book. This is pretty much a book that follows all these kids from this famous singer. They all kind of share a house in Malibu for this party. So technically this book takes place in a day because there's this really big party going on, and I think we technically follow Nina Riva, which is Mick Riva's daughter. If you have read any of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, you probably heard this guy's name over and over again, but I feel like I have to be in the mood for it. Honestly, I know this is a lot of people's favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid's book. I remember Step 4 talking about this book. That's why I ended up getting it a long time ago. I still have to get into it. Then we have an arc. I do want to read a few arcs before they actually get published. I have quite a few arcs on my hands right now, and I have to get to them. This is The Love Catastrophe by Helena Hunting. She's a romance author. This is supposed to be kind of like a cheesy romance about this lady that has like a cat grooming business and doesn't like cats. It's just a very cheesy romance, but I feel like sometimes the palate cleanser, this will be great. We have a thriller. Of course there's gonna be thrillers in this list. You're actually gonna be surprised by some of the books that I'm gonna be mentioning here, because I'm definitely moving out of my comfort zone. So this is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey William. If you remember the last video I posted, Lauren Sydney recommended All the Dangerous Things to me, and I love that thriller, so I decided to pick up her other thriller, and I really want to give it a chance. This is about this girl, 12 girls go missing in her town, and then she finds out her dad did it, but then years later, even her dad's in jail and all of that, it starts happening again, and she starts getting like deja vu. So I'm really excited. It sounds really interesting. Then I want to read my second Stephen King book. This is Billy Summers by Stephen King. This is one of his newest books. It's about this one detective guy. I have no idea. I've heard there's even a little bit of romance in this book. Haley Pham talked about this book, so I decided to pick it up. After entering my Stephen King era, I saw that she also has been reading his books, so I really want to listen to her recommendations because I really like Haley's recommendations. I'm gonna give this one a try. I've heard this is not as horror heavy as all of his other books. This is not focusing. There we go. But we'll see if I like it. We have The Hunger Games. I've actually made quite a dent in this book. Self-explanatory. The Hunger Games, very famous book, so I really want to finish it. Then we've got another arc. This is called Tilly in Technicolor. This is actually this author's, Macy Eddings' debut novel, which I'm really thankful that I got selected to review it, so I really want to read it, especially because it's her debut novel. Remember when Carly Fortune had a debut novel and I was obsessed, so I really want to try this before it becomes popular. And then Carly Fortune line, I want to read her new book. It's called Meet Me at the Lake. I'm about to order it because it's supposed to come out next week. Super excited about this one. I have no idea what it's about, but her last book was so awesome, so I'm really excited to read that. And then we've got King of Battle and Blood. This one Lauren Sydney also recommended on her Instagram. I'm about halfway done. I should just finish this book. This is about this like marriage and convenience between this vampire blood king, whatever, and the daughter of a king, and it's pretty interesting so far. I feel like if you like anything vampire related, you should read this. It's pretty spicy, so you guys have been asking for age ratings lately. I don't think this is appropriate for like a younger audience. We've got Six of Crows. Sarah Caroli has recommended this book so many times. I keep trying to get into it and I just can't get myself to love it. I'm gonna give it another try. I've heard a lot of good things about Leigh Bardugo. Her writing style intrigues me a lot, so I really want to try give it a first shot. I'm gonna try reading this one as well. Pretty much like an all-time Money Heist situation where there's like so many characters that you're following, and that's what's kind of turning me off about it. It's like I don't like following so many POVs, and you get a lot of POVs in this book. And we've got The Serpent, The Wings of Night. This book has been taking over the internet, booktok, all of that. So this is by Carissa Broadbent. I really want to finish this book. I'm actually only like an hour away from finishing it according to my Kindle. Really good. This is actually about this vampire king who adopts a human, and then there's like a whole Hunger Game situation going on where they have to enter this game where there's only one survivor. It's pretty interesting so far, so I agree with the hype this has. I'm currently reading Happy Place by Emily Henry. I'm actually doing a reading vlog for this one, so just wait for that. I'm loving it so far, that's all I'm gonna say. This is her new novel. It's about this couple. They break up, they don't want to tell their friends about it, but they do this annual trip to this cottage in Maine, and they have to pretend, so fake dating, they have to pretend they're together, and I'm guessing something sad happens because everyone keeps saying this book is gonna destroy you, so I'm kind of intimidated. And then lastly, we've got this book by Marisa Meyer. I recently read Heartless. I have a whole reading blog coming where I talk about it. I don't want to give any spoilers. I'm obsessed with her writing style, so I really want to get into her Lunar Chronicles series, and I want to start with the Cinder book. The paperback that they have outside of the box set, it's the cover of it is so ugly, but I'm still gonna get it because it's only like $7. I'm kind of disappointed about that, but it's kind of like a retelling of Cinderella, and I loved the retelling of the Alice in Wonderland world that she did with Heartless. I'm super excited to get into her writing a little bit more. And that brings us to the end of this video. Probably gonna be switching around this TBR a lot. You know, I cannot commit to a TBR, but I'm actually, the difference about this one is like I'm already reading a lot of these books and I'm actually really excited and into them, so we could actually potentially finish all these books before spring and summer are over. So yeah, I just wanted to share it with you guys. You know the drill. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Glasses are always linked down below, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye guys.